Hey guys, welcome back to From the Depths, the show that focuses on dungeon synth, dark ambient, black metal, all the stuff that I don't really talk about on the record room. Normally I do these shows and I show you a bunch of things that have come into the record room, a bunch of cassettes, maybe a CD here or there and some records, but today I just want to focus on one release from one artist. Not something I normally do, but this release really warrants it. At least I feel it does, because when I first heard this, it completely blew me away like nothing I have heard in the dungeon synth, fantasy, ambient, alternative, whatever you want to class this as, arena for a long, long time. And, you know, dungeon synth, ambient, fantasy, this kind of music's been around for decades now. You know, probably became more prevalent in, say, the early 90s with the rise of artists like Mortis. Obviously, there are ambient tracks on the first Burzum albums as well. So if you're a fan of early black metal in the early 90s, chances are you were exposed to some dungeon synth or fantasy music as well at the same time. Since then, it's gone on and it's become, you know, a pretty big genre in itself. You know, we have the Albion Dungeon Fest, which is a 2-day event that focuses primarily on dungeon synth artists, and there are labels all over the world, and we have some fantastic labels right here in the UK. And it's a UK artist, it's a Scottish artist actually, released through a UK label that completely blew me away. And now full caveat here, I missed the drop on this when it came out. I actually missed the release of this, and the cassette sold out really quickly, and I was very, very upset about this. The release is Granite Skull, I Won't Rot Here Like You. Now, you can see here, I do actually have a copy of the cassette. I'll tell you how it all happened, but I missed the drop. But Granite Keep, who runs Sokol Keep, he actually dropped me a line and he sent me a Bandcamp code so I could listen to the album at least. And I listened to it and I just fell in love with it. Everything about it is just kind of, this is to me what dungeon synth needs. Not that it needs reinventing or anything. You know, the artists that are working out there today, they're all doing a fine job. I'm loving the content that's being put out at the moment. But this was something fresh. It took an original idea and kind of turned it on its head a little bit. And I loved that. It's epic fantasy music with some added synths. And I don't mean synths as in like the dungeon synth type synths. I mean like, no, 70s like dance music synths. And then it takes you on this journey. And then before you know it, it's a full-on drum and bass album. And now I personally am not a drum and bass fan. I grew up in the 90s. Drum and bass was everywhere. It's not something that I have ever really purchased or kind of lent towards. But, you know, a good song is a good song. And I'll always say that a great release is a great release. And when I heard this, it was completely out of the blue, completely unexpected, took me totally by surprise. And I found myself just thinking, this is incredible. Like, why aren't more people doing this? This is absolutely amazing. Amazing. And now at this time, I didn't have a copy of the cassette. So I'm listening to this thing digitally like, man alive. I reached out on Instagram and said, you know, if anyone happens to pick up a spare copy, anyone wants to trade, let me know. I need this tape in my life. And graciously, Granite Skull, who released the cassette, or the artist behind the cassette, I Won't Rot Here Like You, progressive dungeon, Granite Skull actually reached out to me and said, you know, don't deal with the scammers, because someone will try and scam you for this. I'm getting some artist copies. I must throw one to you. And, you know, it was such a cool, such a nice thing for him to do. He didn't have to do that at all. Didn't have to do that. In between my chats with him, we're talking about how much I like the release and this, that, and the other. Got me a cool little Granite Skull sticker with the album as well. Just everything about this, I love. If you haven't heard this, do yourself a favor, go on to Bandcamp, Granite Skull, check out I Won't Rot Here Like You. It is absolutely fantastic. A 100% Garrett, like whatever kind of recommendation I can give you, this is definitely going to be in my top 10 releases of the year, without a shadow of a doubt. And that include releases I put out myself. This is absolutely fantastic. Now, I was chatting to the chap behind the project, and I'm sorry, I don't actually know his name, so I can't tell you much about the artists themselves. And I like that bit of mystery. I do like me a bit of mystery with my dungeon synths, but it turns out that Granite Skull is not just a dungeon synth artist. No, they're actually just a musician or someone that makes music and someone that is very, very good at it. And they actually hit me up to one of their other releases. They said to me, check this out. If you like the drum and bassy stuff on the Granite Skull album, you might like this. Now, the release in question is called Altar of Dionysus. And I listened to it online, and from the first track, I was just blown away. Just absolutely. It's a drum and bass album, but I don't know what it is because I'm not a drum and bass fan. Maybe this is drum and bass for the non-drum and bass fan. But before I even finished the album, I was like, dude, this is incredible. This is absolutely incredible. And there was a physical release, and he was kind enough to send me one of these. Altar of Dionysus, You Ain't Even Looking is the name of the cassette. And it came out through Ice Cream, I believe it's Ice Cream Records or Ice Cream for Crow. Comes on this lovely sort of purple-ish shell. It's like a recycled shell where they've melted down previous shells and they've made a new one. This is also one of my favorite releases right now. I have not stopped listening to this and this since they arrived. I listened to them on the physical. I've listened to them digitally. I barely go a week since these things arriving without listening to them once or twice. They are absolutely fantastic. Everything I love about alternative music in all of its shapes and forms are right here on that cassette. It's something I would never, if someone described it to me, I would probably say, no, that's not for me. But listening to it, it just got me hooked. It got its hooks into me and it hasn't let go. And as far as I'm concerned, that is the best kind of music. All I can say is this is now sold out. Hopefully there will be some more. This is still available on Bandcamp, so I'll leave a link below where you can go and check out this album and grab yourself a copy. It's not expensive, but it is absolutely fantastic. If I had any recommendations that I could give for anybody that is watching this episode right now, it would definitely be Granite Skull digitally and Altar of Dionysus if you want a physical release as well. They are both beyond exceptional. I'm very much in love with this music. I cannot wait to see what the artist does next. I am fully intrigued. Consider this episode a love letter. And if Granite Skull, if you're watching this, believe me, I'm not as creepy as I may seem. I just think you are incredibly talented. And I cannot wait to see what comes next. And obviously, Ren of the Keep at Sokol Keep. Keep up the good work, my man. You are releasing some absolute fire at the moment, and I am right here for it. A different episode this time around on From the Depths. I'll probably go back to doing the multi-release episodes very, very soon. There is literally a pile of tapes looking at me over in the corner, just waiting to be discussed. So much stuff has come in. It's a wonderful time to be alive and listening to this music. It really, really is. But what about you guys out there? Are you already familiar with the Granite Skull, or are you aware of Altar of Dionysus? Do let me and everybody else know in the comments down below. And I'll be back with you real soon. But until then, stay gold and spin those blackest circles.